Hi, welcome to In the Rough with Angie. I am here with my new friend Darlene today. And Darlene is an author, she's a speaker, she's a survivor. She helps women learn how to overcome trauma and to move forward in life. And she is going to tell her story today. The heart of this podcast is all about being a work in progress. So we are all works in progress. Nobody is perfected yet. We are all working on something, and we can look back and see that there's areas of life that we have already overcome or we've had a victory in, whether small or big. And there's areas we're still working through right now. So we like to start off talking about that victory that we had to begin with. So that's what we can talk about with Darlene. And then Darlene has a book coming out too, we're excited to talk about. So, Darlene, I had a quote that you had on Instagram. I want to read that and then we'll introduce you. So you had said, when you tell your story, you get clarity, peace, and growth. You don't have to carry it anymore. And I think that's so powerful. So, Darlene, just so we can get to know you a little bit more. This is kind of a silly question, but let's say you're going on a road trip for a couple days. You're going to be in the car and it's just you, like you're the only one in control of the radio, podcast,
Sure.
music, whatever's coming out. And this is somewhere that you're excited to go. So like your mood is kind of like uplifted. What is going to be on your playlist? What is playing in your car?
Wow, I have a variety of songs that I absolutely love and helped me through my journey. And actually, a lot of them are listed on my website. But one of my absolute favorites is Audrey Day, Rise Up. I'll rise up again, I will move forward. And it's just so inspiring. It's just something that when I'm alone, I absolutely love to have that motivate me. But there's other songs too, like Katy Perry and Roar and, Kelly Clarkson, I'm Stronger. But I
hmm
just think anything for me that helps me know I'm okay, know I'm strong, know I can rise up above the pain I've endured. It's a wonderful car ride.
I love that so much. So now we can kind of get into what your message is, what you've overcome, what it was, and then how you overcame it. Like, did you have people that helped you? Was it like a miracle? Was it a process? Like, let's talk about what it was and then the process of how you overcame and got victory.
Sure. So at a very young age, I was portrayed. From the ages of 7 to 12, I was sexually assaulted by two of my oldest brothers. And so, brothers who are supposed to take care of their little sister and protect their little sister instead betrayed me. And so at a very young age, I made some vows to myself. I grew up in a very conservative family, and I knew that it would completely destroy my mom had I told her. And I think it would have destroyed me. I mean, this was back in the 70s. Nobody talked about their problems, nobody confronted it. I really thought that I was all alone in this. And so the shame that I carried as a victim, I mean, it's crazy that as victims, we carry the shame. The
Mhm.
perpetrator should be carrying the shame. But that's really my story. And I'd love to talk about how I've overcome it because it's a pretty crazy ride if you hear the rest of it. And that's why I wrote a book too.
Yes, yes. And something that stood out to me as I was reading just an overview of what you've been through is it was mentioned that you had first opened up to a friend during college about what had happened.
Yes.
Can you talk about that? Like, what gave you the courage to tell that first person, like, this did happen to me? Like, how did that all happen?
Sure. Um, Unfortunately, it wasn't intentional. So when you have trauma as bad as mine and you put it in a box and you don't tell anybody, that box is going to leak no matter what you
Yeah.
do. And you can, try and push it down, but it's not going to stay. It's like a little volcano trying to bubble up. So, what happened to me is I was out of the house. Maybe my brain felt it was okay to talk now. I don't have my perpetrators in the same house with me. And I was at my girlfriend's home. I went to Michigan State and I was at her house, and her brother started hitting on me, and he tried to kiss me in the hallway, and I freaked out. And at the time, I didn't know I had PTSD.
Okay.
And so again, when you keep everything in a box and you're not seeing anybody about it, you have reactions and responses. And a normal girl would go, "Oh, he tried to kiss me. I'm just going to blow him off." But I went to my friend and I said, I can't do this. I can't have boys approach me like this. And I disclosed to her what happened. And she was like, you can't go this alone. Please get help. And so as a college student, it was free. So I did start seeing psychiatrists at Michigan State back in the 80s. Now I'm in college now. It was a lot of men, older men. So it was difficult for a young 19-year-old girl to disclose this. So it didn't really work for me, but I did find other healing methods
Okay.
along my path. And I will tell you, my girlfriends pretty much saved my life.
I love that so much. There's so much power in voicing it, telling someone.
Mhm.
And like I had read in your story, your brothers were threatening you, saying you can't tell this to anybody.
Yes.
What was that process like in the home? They're telling you this, and then, like you said, your mom wanted to like portray this image of a perfect family. Did you tell her? Did you try to get her to understand, or how did that work?
I did not tell her. I did not tell I made a vow that my parents were never to know, and
Okay.
it was just something for me. My mom, went to Hope College in Michigan. She went to college with Robert Schuller. She owned a Christian bookstore. My dad was, a pillar in the community. For me personally, at the time, I said, 90% of a good life. I don't want to destroy that. Even though 10% was rotten, I just felt like I wanted to continue my life as I was living and hide the pain that I was going on. So I personally chose to not tell anyone. And that's why my girlfriends became so incredibly important, because over the years, I told about 7 or 8 of them. And then well, I ended up getting sued by one of my brothers when it all became public, and we can talk about that later if you want, but it was just something that as a young child in the 70s, the shame, I thought I was all alone. I truly believed them when they threatened me and said, "If you tell, you will be orphaned. If you tell, you will be to blame. If you tell, mom and dad will get divorced." And I didn't want any of that. I had a sister who didn't hurt me. I had a brother who was only 2 years older than me that didn't hurt me. I wanted to keep that good intact, if that makes sense, Angie.
It does. It absolutely makes sense because it feels in the time it's more comfortable. It seems like it's going to be more comfortable if you just hold it or hold on to it and not stir the pot, right? But then you started to notice, no, this is leaking out in every area of my life. This is not good. So you have your friends that you're speaking to about it. What type of advice were they giving you, if any, or were they just like a listening ear?
So some of them did try to encourage me to tell my parents.
Okay.
And they said, "Please don't go alone." And I just said, "I can't. I just know my parents and I know my family and I just know it would be destroyed." So
Mhm.
then they said, "Okay, if you're not willing to tell your parents, then please get help." And so I did get additional help, but it was also more of a listening ear. Single one of them believed me. Every single one of them said, "I care for you. I believe you. I understand what you've been through. Just know that you are not alone."
That's good. Yeah. And that's so important. And I'm glad that you did open your mouth and you did share that with people that you trusted because I think that's huge.
Mhm.
That's like a first step. And then like where it goes from then there on, I guess is kind of up to God and all the other stuff, but I'm thinking back to a time I went through something that I haven't openly shared yet, but that was very shameful for me, and I remember feeling like I needed to tell my family members because if I ever talked about it publicly, I wanted them to know first. So I did that, and I remember how scary it felt just to tell somebody.
Yes.
It's almost like this block that's up that it's like you just have to break through, open your mouth, say the words, let it out. But then once that happens, a burden is lifted. Like there's such power in telling people, whether it's,
Yes.
your friends that you told, whether it's going to be the world that you tell, and it encourages other people that, hey, I can share the things that I've been through, right? Like I don't have to hide this. But then moving on. So after your mom passed away, I was reading that it said that the secret kind of exploded. Can you talk about what that means?
Sure. So my mom passed away in 2021. She had a heart attack and she was 93 years old. We had moved my parents from Michigan down to the Charlotte, North Carolina area where one of the brothers who abused me lives an hour north of me. So we were trying to take turns to take care of both parents. And an argument ensued with one of the brothers. And I think that it's not a coincidence that my mom passed away and then we got in an argument. I had tried to confront him in the past to say, look, this is what you did to me. And all he said to me was, oh, I didn't think it bothered you that bad. I mean, can you imagine being a rape victim and having your rapist say those words to
Yeah,
you?
that's horrible.
And so I sat with it. And then 9 years went by, and then we got in an argument. He wouldn't pick up the phone. And so I just said, look, you need to stop talking to me the way you are, because if you don't, you leave me no choice. I could destroy your life if you want me to.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go public about this. And he said, go for it.
Mm-hmm.
So I did.
Yeah.
And then what happened was, yes, we got in an argument, but I was hoping that he would finally man up and finally apologize. Instead, he served me with a lawsuit.
Wow.
And so I had to deal with all of that and fight back in court. I was on the stand because I was trying to negotiate as well. And 2.5 years later, on February 5th, 2025, a jury of 12 agreed that I was telling the truth and he was lying. And so
Wow.
I won.
That's awesome. So what's that like? I mean, I can only imagine. So he's saying it's defamation, right? Like
Yes.
he's saying that you're coming against his character, you're making something up. How is it in the courtroom as you're having to stand up against that? Like, what's giving you strength to be able to say, like, no, this is what happened, this is the actual truth?
Yep. Yep. It's the faith in knowing you have the truth on your side.
Okay.
It is knowing I had told 8 girlfriends and a therapist, so I had every single one of those testify for me. It is it was excruciating to be on the
Yeah.
stand to relive all my trauma because I had to go through each instance all over again. So I was very bitter and angry and resentful at the time. And then I thought, I won the trial. This is it. I'm going to have relief. But that's not how healing works.
Yeah.
Winning the trial did nothing for me and cleaning my soul. It was all about him. So I had to figure out how to get all of that resentment and black tar out of me in order to move my life forward, in order to be enriched and heal.
So what was then the process of getting the anger and the bitterness? What do you do with it?
Yeah, so you're right. What do you do when the one thing you think you need to heal, an apology, never arrives?
Yeah.
You have to, use your own agency, if you will. I worked with a lot of therapists, and I realized I had to let go of everything. Everything that I took to survive, I had to shed myself of. I always had to be in control. I always had to win. I vowed those brothers were never going to let me see, I was never going to let them see me fail. But when you always have to win, your husband and your children and those closest to you also become your enemies.
Mhm.
So that was hurting all of my relationships. And I just had to say the bitterness, the anger, the resentment was doing me absolutely no good. I need love and peace and joy and clarity in my soul. So by releasing it, I've become a much stronger, more beautiful person. Even my family has said, Mom, you're so different than you used to be.
Love
You
that.
are, yeah, you've overcome it all.
I had a question and I'm trying to think. So, is letting go of the anger and the bitterness a one time thing, or is it a continual process?
It's a continual process, I believe,
Okay.
because in life, you're always going to be hit with negative things.
Mm-hmm.
You're always going to be hit with, you know, somebody to trying to steal your joy, your purpose, your voice. And it's about how do you, when everything feels so overwhelming and you're walking on shards of glass, how do you overcome it? And I am a firm believer the way to overcome it is to serve you now. All that anger and bitterness was serving him. This is what I need to be whole. This is what I need to have joy and purpose in my life. Honestly, it's so weird for me to say. My brother suing me and me countersuing him for defamation as well. He gave me a gift
Yeah.
because now I'm free of the burden. I mean,
Yeah.
justice became being freed of the burden of my secret.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. Let me find my question over here. Sorry, I have questions all over the
It's
place
okay. No
and I'm
problem.
trying to find the right one.
Like you said, just a casual
Okay.
conversation.
Yes. Okay. So, do you have advice? No, 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 no. Let me start with this because I think this is huge. So, sibling sexual trauma and abuse is very underreported. So, people do not talk about it much, right? So, there's a lot of people that are going through this that just will not speak about it, probably a lot of because of what you had said, right? So, let me ask you this. Do you have advice for somebody that's holding on to this, that has gone through this? What is their first step? Like maybe they're like, okay, now I have some hope. I'm listening to Darlene's story. I have some hope that I can get through this. What's the first step that they can take to kind of start their healing journey?
Yeah, I think the first step is to really get help. Don't do it alone. I did it alone until I was 19. And I really believe that you've got to find somebody to confide in.
Mhm.
Maybe it's a minister. Maybe it's a girlfriend. Maybe it's a therapist. For me, it was girlfriends and therapists, but don't go it alone. It's the shame is not ours to carry.
Yeah.
And secondly, realize what it is that you need to have purpose and joy in your life. And don't be brought down by all the negativity, all the anger, the bitterness, because think about it. If I continuously talk about him and think about him, that's not moving me forward. That does me no good. And so turn the chapter, turn it around and really focus on what you need to be fulfilled.
I like that. And then it's kind of crazy that we're talking now because the holidays are coming up, right?
Yes.
Everybody's getting together with family and all of that. Do you have advice for somebody? Maybe there's somebody who's younger and they can't say that they don't want to be a part of Christmas or they don't want to be a part of Thanksgiving activities. Do you have advice for that person that's younger that's still in the family that they don't have a choice to say, "Hey, I'm not gonna show up giving. I'm not gonna be part of Christmas." Like, what can they do in this survival state
Mhm.
that they don't have a choice right now to be outside of it?
For me, I didn't well, I had a choice. I chose I wanted to be a part of that family, but it was very difficult. I mean, there were lots of arguments when we would host and my brother would come in my house and people are like, my husband was like, "How can you do that? How can you have him in my home?" And I said, "Well, my mom and my dad and my sister and my brother Dale are much more important to me than this." And, I would just say talk it through. For me, my brother never came after me again after I was he verbally came after me when I was 19, but he stopped at 12. And I was able to recognize and put there was an adult down that didn't hurt me and was able to move his life forward. It was only the young teenage dumb Don that really hurt me. And David, too. Both of those brothers hurt me. So I was able to just compartmentalize that
Yeah,
and say, I've moved forward with my life and these people aren't hurting me now. Does that make sense,
it
Angie?
does make sense. It
Yeah.
really does. It's like a boundary. It's
Yes.
like a boundary that you have up.
Yep. Yep. And I only spent holidays with them. I wasn't like I was going out actively hanging out with them at all
Right, like
times.
calling on the phone and talking
Right.
and catching
Right.
up and all
No,
that stuff.
I chose not to have close relationships with the two brothers that hurt me. I was only around them when other people were around. So I think that's important too.
Well, that's a
For
good
your
point.
listenings,
Yes,
yeah. For your listeners, don't ever be alone with them.
that's a great point. I'm glad you said that.
Yeah.
Have somebody there that you feel comfortable with and trust if
Yes.
they need to be there too.
Correct.
Yeah,
Yep.
I
Yep.
like that. So your memoir is called Shattering Silence, a story of survival, justice, and the power of telling the truth. So, is there anything you want to mention about your book? Like the process of writing that book, was that an overcoming experience within itself?
Yes, very much so. So, I lived the trauma as a young child. I was thrown in court. And I didn't want to be in court. I didn't want to relive all that. So that was the second time reliving my trauma. And then the third time writing about my trauma. But I will tell you, writing the book was incredibly cathartic. It was one of the most healing things I've ever done for myself. And I'm so glad I did it. And through writing the book, I'm also helping others. I mean, there's many organizations that I've joined. It's not just sibling sexual trauma and abuse. It's anyone that's been sexually abused or, like I said earlier, anyone who has really been threatened with their joy being taken away. And how do you move life forward when you think there's nothing that can fix it? Have faith, have hope. I think my book was really a story for anybody that wants to see the resilience on how to move your life forward, no matter what you're faced with. Thank
Really
you.
awesome. Okay, I think we answered these. Okay, actually, I do have another one.
We can talk for however long you want, Angie.
Okay. Okay, here it is. Okay, so I think we all have a perspective about what we think we can handle. Like, if this situation happens, I'm pretty sure I have the tools to be able to withstand it, to be able to handle it. I am capable to overcome that. But if this happens, I'll never be able to overcome that. So it's these things that we tell ourselves, right? So you went through something traumatic that in the beginning, your perspective was, I'm not going to tell anybody because this isn't something that's going to get touched, because this doesn't have hope to overcoming. So that was kind of your perspective. So do you feel like it was using your voice sharing with somebody what had happened, that now your perspective has changed to, I am capable to endure things and I am capable to overcome things. Is your perspective like that black and white different now that you've gone through this process? Or are there still times that you're battling what you can overcome and what you can't overcome? I hope that makes sense.
It does. It does. I think that my perspective has changed. I mean, as a child, it was all about survival. What am I going to do to survive this? What am I going to do to move forward? So I did a lot of tactics. I played a bunch of sports, so I was out of the house. I had a tree that I would climb up, so I was out of the house. I became popular so that I was invited to a bunch of parties and things like that. But like I said before, the survival tactics that you build as a child when you have this deep, dark secret that, to your point, you feel like you can't overcome. Well, now it's wide open. I mean, I am so thankful for being able to tell my story, you
Right.
know? And while the book is a catalog, it's not a catalog of my assaults and what they did to me, but it's really a story about my resilience and what I did to move forward. And I'm extremely vulnerable in the book. And I feel like in order for you, the reader, to see my truth and to understand the good in me, you have to see the pain that I went through, the choices that I made, and how I was able to rise above it all despite it all. And I think every day we grow and we heal, and it's just a never ending journey. That's how life is, right?
Absolutely. And how has it been with your husband and your kids as you've been walking out the like as you're releasing things, right? How are they responding?
Sure. So I'm on my second marriage, and I had told both of my husbands prior to them marrying me because due to the shame, I didn't think I was worthy of anybody marrying me. So that was just a part of my life that I was like, look, you need to know this about me because you might back out. And of course, both of them, neither one of them backed out. My current husband is angry. He wants, what are the right words to use? I don't want to use the word kill, but he's very angry at the brother who took me to court. And it's understandable. I mean, he's only had 12 years to understand this. I've had 50 years to process this and to understand I can let go of it. I can move my life forward. I don't even want to talk about this brother anymore. You know what I mean? And then my children, it's been beautiful. So all three of my children have reacted in different ways. And I was so scared to tell them. I'm like, what mother needs to tell their children that this happened to them? Oh, it was awful. I was so scared. And each one of them reacted in a different way, but in a positive way. And they're all like, Mom, we wish you would have told us sooner. We get you now. We understand why you were so controlling of us growing up, or,
Yeah.
you
I
know?
love that
Yeah.
because then they don't have to continue the cycle of those thoughts. They see their mom overcoming, they see their mom confronting it,
Yes.
being real about it and moving forward and having a purpose. And that is so huge. I
Yes.
love that.
Yeah.
So the at what age did you tell your children then that this had happened? Like what age were they when you told them?
You're going to make me do math?
Sorry.
So,
Like what's a
no,
good age?
I know. I know. So it was 2022 when I got sued by my brother. So we were going to a family vacation to Utah and Zion National Park, and I just knew that I had to tell them. And my brother was out telling my other relatives I'd had a nervous breakdown. I was a pathological liar. That
Okay.
was how I was able to win my defamation counter lawsuit against him. But it was just something that I felt like I had to do, as scary as it was. I'm so glad I did. And then 2.5 years going through the trial, I kept having PTSD moments, and I had one with my daughter, and that was scary. That was life-changing for me because I thought she was abandoning me, the one of many threats my brother did, and so my brain was thinking that she was my brother who had raped me. And I actually ended up, like, hitting her in the head, fighting back, thinking she was my rapist, and I knew after that and she even said, "Mom, you need more help. I can't live like this anymore. I want my mom, but I don't want this mom." And I
Yeah.
knew I needed a lot more help. That was a
So
turning moment for sure.
yeah, and then at that point, are you seeking counseling? Like, what was the step there?
Yeah. So going through the trial, I tried everything. I had
Yeah.
a psychiatrist who wanted to put me on a number of medications, which I am not a big, you know, I don't need a lot of pills to to get through this. I was seeing a therapist. I was also seeing a non-traditional therapist where he mainly taps into memories and helps you release them.
Okay.
So he was very instrumental, and then also I had heard that people with PTSD, because I was just diagnosed with PTSD in 2022 after the incident with my daughter. I didn't know I had it. Then I went to an EFT tapping person, and I had heard that a lot of soldiers use EFT tapping or EMDR
Mhm.
techniques to get rid of their trauma memories. So that has helped me tremendously realize what I can do to heal and what I can do to actually move my life forward in a much more positive way than I had been.
I think that's huge when you identify what the issue is. I just I just recently, I'm not proud of it, but just realized that I have been codependent on people. Like
Mm.
that is a problem in my life. I don't
Yep,
want that, right? But
yep,
just
yep.
to be able to acknowledge it and see that it's caused problems in my life, like not being able to hold a job that maybe I want to do, like not believing in myself, like expecting somebody else to pick up the pieces for me, like just acknowledging that to my husband helped him and it helped
Yes,
me. And yes, I'm not proud of it and I don't want it. And I believe that I'm growing and I'm getting out of that, but it is a realization there is some freedom when you can kind of diagnose, hey, this is something that is holding me back in life, right? This is something that's affecting my relationships. So I'm glad that you were able to get that diagnosis so you could know, hey, this is what I'm dealing with. And what are some of the symptoms of PTSD? What are some of the most common symptoms, do you think?
well, I think for me, there's trigger words, but I also had very, very severe nightmares. I mean,
Okay.
one nightmare, I woke up in the middle of the night and I was punching my current husband.
Yeah.
And I mean, just like if I was a soldier in a war and I wasn't awake, but he's wears a CPAP, he's taking his CPAP off, he's
Yeah,
trying
he's
like,
like,
what
"What's
is
going
going
on?"
on? And then he finally woke me up and just said, I was dreaming that you took everything from me. You took the house, you took the kids. I was abandoned and I was alone. So, you know, nightmares and I was afraid of the dark. I couldn't be anywhere alone in my house. If I was alone, I would, have all of these doors shut and making sure the dog was in the room with me. But there were also like, I had a hard time with the word fine. So I'm getting ready. I'm going to a really nice date with my husband. And I'd say, how do I look? And my husband would say, well, you look fine. And I would
Yeah.
flip out.
Yeah.
Well, through therapy and backing up and seeing what I had done and gone through, the word fine was a problem word for me because after the sexual assaults, my brothers would say, "Oh, you're gonna be fine."
Yeah.
So it was the reactionary,
Mhm.
but I really do believe in part of the healing process for you and for your listeners, it's all about stepping back. I had to step back and go, "What postulates have I made that are hurting me today?" And, that was part of the shedding the shedding of the shame, the shedding of the winning, the bitterness, the anger, all of that had to be shed. Otherwise, I was stuck in life. And that's what we all need to do to move forward is look and realize what am I doing to hurt my relationships today?
Yeah, and it's being honest about I am flawed. Like
Yes.
I do not have it together. And I think a lot of families, like you had said, that your mom, wanted the image of the family to be intact, right?
Yep.
I feel like that is such a problem for so many people because that's not fair. Like,
Right.
no family has it all intact. Like, can we have peace? Can we just stop caring about our images so much and just be real with each other so we can have hope and peace? And for me, I really lean on my faith in the Lord for helping me with that process. His direction, like identity, who he says I am,
Hmm.
not the identity that I tried to create to survive, the identity that I try to create to be accepted, but really the truth of who he has made me, my identity in him. That is what matters. And that is my purpose. And I like how you're exposing this thing that came against you because there's such power in exposing it.
I just knew, I was going to forever be the girl who was assaulted by your brothers because I truly believed nobody else happened. I was the only one in the world. And come to find out, with all of the organizations I've joined, there are thousands and thousands of men and women who have been sexually assaulted, sadly, by their older brothers or older sisters, even. And one of the things that I also learned through this process, and I've always had this mantra, Angie, and it's about spirituality. And if we believe that we are truly a spiritual being, then you have hope and you have belief that nobody can hurt you. Because think about it, if you're a spiritual being, yes, they stole my innocence. Yes, they stole my virginity, but I never let them touch me and my soul and who I am. I was never giving that up. And I think that's what all of your listeners, we have to fight for that. And we have to fight for what God is telling us who we are and who we can be. And no one, absolutely no one can touch your soul. No one can touch who you truly are. So
Yeah.
don't let them.
Yeah. And I love that. And it's the part that's hard is it's vulnerable, right? We don't want to be vulnerable. But I
Right.
love what you're
Scary.
doing because the more you speak on it, the more you are getting free from it, the more healing that comes, the more other people feel they can share their story too. I do want to touch on one more thing and then we can talk about how people can find you and get connected with you so they can make sure to get your book when it comes out. This is my question. Your story needed to be told. There are some things, how do we discern if there's something that we need to share that has happened to us in our family, or if this is something that's private, that really is private, that maybe is still needing to get worked out from the inside out and it's not ready to come out yet, or maybe it can be reconciled within the family.
Hmm.
Is there a way to distinguish between those two things?
Think so. I mean, if honestly, if I were to do it all over again, I would have told little Darlene it's okay to tell
Yeah,
that you won't be orphaned, you know?
yeah,
But I do feel like I would have been shamed. And I do think, Angie, the more that we bring issues like this to the forefront, the more that we say this is no longer a taboo subject,
mhm,
the more that little girls and boys and victims like me can feel free to say, oh, I'm not the only one.
mhm,
This has happened to so many more people. I can talk to my mom and dad about it. I
yeah,
can talk to my minister. I can talk to a teacher and have hope that you don't need to hide a secret for 50 years like I did.
yeah. I love that. Thank you so much, Darlene, for for being on here and sharing that, sharing your story. So, where can people find you? How do they get your book when it comes out?
Okay. So I'm very active in a couple of places. So you can find me on Instagram
Okay.
at Darlene Lekowski, but it's at DarleneLekowski. So that's my Instagram, and that automatically goes to Facebook. So my
Oh,
Facebook
okay.
is Darlene Deloy Lekowski. That's my
Okay.
maiden name, Deloy.
Okay.
And then my website is darlene-lekowski.com. Because my name is so long, I just put a dash in there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and that's my website. So Instagram at Darlene Lekowski. My website is darlene-lekowski.com. At the top of the site, it says sign up for book updates. And what I'm doing is giving people updates about my story, lessons learned, different tactics that I used to overcome things. And I'd love it if any of your readers were interested in signing up for that because my book doesn't come out until April 2nd, 2026. But I'm
Okay.
talking about it now because I
Yeah.
really want to make sure everybody hears and excited. And we're releasing the book during Sexual Awareness Month on purpose. So
Oh
that's why
my
it's April.
gosh.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you, Darlene. Is there any closing thoughts that you have for the audience or any advice?
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of what I was saying before. It's just more of it's okay to tell, it's okay to
Yeah.
speak. Don't believe the shame. If you are being assaulted today, don't go it alone. This journey is hard. This journey is difficult. It's messy, but all of our journeys are unique and different. And so confide in somebody and confide in your faith and understand who you are as a spiritual being. And I hope you get through it. And I hope all of your listeners can move their lives forward in miraculous ways as well.
Thank you, Darlene. It was
You're
so
welcome.
great talking with you.
Nice to talk with you too. Thank
Thank
you.
you.